Rest in peace, Quincy Jones. That soul bossa nova. I mean, the range. It's the range for me. It's the range. We should all be so talented. Rest in peace to the great Quincy Jones. Like I said, my phone lines are open. Like I said, I'm expecting a guest. And as I mentioned, if you are running for office, you can call me now. You can call me anytime today, and I'll give you 3 minutes to make your case. 800-920-1580. Republican or Democrat or whatever your flavor, other, cynic, if that was a party, you would be invited in to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Really important what the Secretary of State said, and I'm definitely going to steal that talking point from her, which is when people start telling me these crazy theories, where did you get that from? What's your source? Is what I typically say, but I like the way she puts it. Where did you get that from? Because actually, a lot of times we don't know. That's why I do a talking point Tuesday. Hopefully you do have your vote planned. It has to be today or tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day to vote. And you can still put it in the mail. You heard the Secretary of State say, as long as you get it in the mail before 8 o'clock tomorrow. I would really suggest you do it today, though. Walk into the post office. I put my cheat sheet on Instagram, DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. I also put some stuff on Twitter, which is the same thing, DiPrima Radio. It's unofficial. It's just me, myself, and I, and my opinion. Okay, you guys keep asking for it. I shared it. Knock LA. It's knock_LA. I like their voter guide. The progressive, the LA Progressive, excellent cheat sheet there because she goes over just about every district throughout LA. And there's Courage, California. La Defensa, I don't agree with everything on theirs, but look, these are resources that you can use. Let's go to Deborah calling us from LA. Good morning, Deborah.
Hi, Dominique. Thank you for all that you do for this city. I just wanted to know, I wasn't sure if you went over any of the local measures. There's a couple DD and LL about redistricting, forming
We absolutely did, but let's talk about it again because I think a lot of folks might have missed it, you know?
Okay.
So let me find that part of my ballot. Since I already voted, I took a picture of this sucker. Look, DD is about redistricting for the LA City Council. It takes the redistricting out of the hands of the council members so they don't get to fight over how they carve up their districts like we heard Nuri Martinez and Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon doing on that secret tape. It takes it out of their hands and puts it into the hands of an independent commission. I voted yes on that.
Okay, great.
LL. Oh, LL.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
LL? I don't see LL. Maybe it's II. You think it's LL. LL Cool J is anyway.
That's about the redistricting for the public schools.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about. I voted yes on that. It's similar to DD, but I see it. Yeah, LL. You're right. It's independent redistricting for the LAUSD. I voted yes on that. Some progressives are split on it, but I feel that we should take redistricting out of the hands of the people that are going to benefit from it. You know, create some space. How would it make sense for me to be in charge of deciding where my voting boundaries are? That's like a built-in conflict of interest. So I voted yes on that. What else you got for me, Deborah?
Which other one? There's another measure about, and this is locally, I guess, with our schools.
U.S.
Is this $9 billion? That's U.S., right?
Yeah. Okay, so I was mixed on two because Measure 2 is the state one for school money. I didn't make a recommendation because I'm concerned that it's the way they're handing out the money seems to favor the rich and resource schools. But with U.S., I do not have that concern. I voted yes on U.S. This is for repairs, safety repairs and upgrades to LA Unified School campuses. Some of our kids are sitting in classrooms with no air conditioning when we have over 100-degree temperatures. It is $9 billion, and it is a 2.5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation on parcels. I voted yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks so much for all your input.
Absolutely. There's another redistricting one, which is II, and apparently it's just a few tweaks here and there. And it's meant to make it easier when they do the full-on charter reform because some of the small things that they're getting out of the way. So I voted yes on II. I voted no on FF, which is fire and police pensions. This is improving the pensions for police, airport, harbor, recreation, and parks by moving it from one organizational system to another. I voted no because this is $23 million that is not accounted for in the budget. We've already given police unprecedented raises, and I know that the mayor is supporting this, and the police officers are supporting this, and Councilmember Park is supporting this, but I'm a no on FF. I don't think we've spent enough extra money on law enforcement this year. They already have a pension plan. They're going to have to stick with the one they have, according to me. I voted yes on ER, which is Ethics Commission reform. It's a little bit, many have called it weak. Would like to have seen it go a little further, but I think it's a step in the right direction. So I voted yes on ER, Ethics Commission Authority and Operational Independence Charter Amendment, ER. And then there is HH, which clarifies the role of the city attorney and the controller. This is important, small but important. I gave HH a yes vote. Again, there's all of these great voting guides that you can look to, and I suggest you do if you have time. You know, the Courage, California one is great. I really love the LA Progressive, just so straight ahead and simple. And then I've looked a lot at the knock _LA, which is put together by the organization Ground Game. You could also look at the LA County Democratic Committee, LADNC, I think it is. LACDP, that's what it is, LA County Democratic Party, LACDP.org. That will give you a sense of where the mainstream Democratic Party is on things. Not that I always agree with them. But that doesn't matter. Sometimes when you read it and you see why you disagree, and it can make you help you make up your mind. And then I'll go to LAGOP, which is the Republican Party, just to see what they're talking about. I always like to see what folks are talking about. I'm not a party line voter. As you can see with my choices for judge. Some are along with the party line or the progressive line, and some are based on what I saw, heard, and researched on my own. And I did put those up on Instagram as well as on Twitter at DiPrima Radio. So you can compare and contrast and make your own decision. Got a question? Deborah called me at 800-920-1580. You can do the same. I just hope we don't start getting caught up in the vapors with these polls and say, oh, well, Gascon is losing, so why bother? No, bother. Polls are wrong. They were wrong in 2016. We thought Hillary would win, and she didn't, okay? They've been wrong. They were wrong in the recall campaign when they said Gascon was dead in the water, and yet he held his seat. So please do not be discouraged by polls. Go ahead and vote. Whatever part of the ballot you fill in, that's what you did. You don't have, it doesn't invalidate the other parts. At least go and vote yes on 6 and no on 36. At least do that. At least stop us from going back to the bad old days of 3 strikes, which to me, there are 3 things on the ballot that do that. One is the district attorney's office. You know, I'm voting Gascon. You do you, boo, but vote that. The second one is Prop 36, which moves money out of alternatives to incarceration and back into prisons. And the third one is Proposition 6. Yes on Prop 6 means you don't want any more loopholes allowing slavery or indentured servitude. No prison forced labor in California. That's what a yes on 6 means. 800-920-1580. It is election eve. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and we are your election information station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Before running for state senate, Laura Richardson was named one of the most corrupt members of Congress, guilty on 7 counts of ripping off taxpayers and a pattern of deception trying to cover it up. Richardson is too shady for state senate. For your state senator, frontline nurses, classroom teachers, and Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project support Democrat Michelle Chambers, a champion for abortion rights, higher wages for workers, and more affordable health care. Democrat Michelle Chambers for state senate.
Ad paid for by nurses and educators supporting Chambers for Senate 2024, sponsored by labor and nonprofit environmental and health organizations. Ad committee's top funders, SEIU California State Council, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Did you know that 1 in 6 African-American men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer? This month, every time you purchase Gillette's family of products, they'll donate to support Movember. Whether you're looking for Gillette's Best Shave, a regimen to help prevent new shave irritation and bumps, or award-winning beard care products, every Gillette purchase can make a difference in the fight against prostate cancer. Visit pggoodeveryday.com/Movember for details. Exclusions apply.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And I do appreciate you. As I've said, I am allowing candidates to call in. You can call in today. You can call in tomorrow, 800-920-1580. Left, right, center, or otherwise, you will be given your 3 minutes of fame. I know it said 5 minutes in the old quote, but we're going with 3 minutes of fame right here. And I've said repeatedly that I think we need to focus more on what we want, not what we don't want. And I'm happy to see that the campaign of Vice President Kamala Harris seems to be on the same page as far as that goes. I've noticed much more of a closing argument about what it is about Vice President Kamala Harris and what she's offering that is proactive rather than just what's wrong with Trump, because that argument does not seem to be effective. even though one would think that it would be effective. I like the focus on the things she's doing, i.e., talking about the home care for seniors, making Medi-Cal, Medicaid, Medicare pay for these things. These are things that make a difference in regular people's lives, and it's going to be bigger and bigger and bigger of an issue as more and more of the boomers retire and their millennial or Gen X kids have to pay for them, care for them at the same time they are caring for their own children. I think the focus on unity, although it seems more nebulous, is very important. We have been in this period of extreme polarization. As I mentioned, it's even hit my own family, and that is something that I think a lot of folks are tired of. Can we get back to a somewhat more low-key kind of way of doing politics? Can we get back to a more less violent, kind of campaign response? With this weekend, the former president was talking about it'd be fine with him if the press is shut up, and his usual. But again, if you're into him, as my relative is, it doesn't matter what he does. So I kind of feel like we should stop talking about that. I think the commitment to build millions of new homes is important. People want to parse whether she can do every single home or whether she can deliver on all that. The intention to do it, the initiative of doing it, and however much of it gets done, that's the direction we need to be going in. $25,000 to help with down payments for houses. That's important. It's very important. It is a little bit of money if you live in New York or California, but you can still save up and supplement that. It's a way of getting in the door, and that is super important. The support for small businesses. Why? Because small businesses are job creators. They're job drivers. They especially are important for communities of color because our small businesses are less likely to be discriminatory in their hiring. So this is a very important initiative. I had a deep conversation with one of my friends leaning Trump about women's rights to choose. It is not just about abortion. You can be against abortion from a religious standpoint or a moral standpoint and still support a woman's right to choose. And as we see more and more women dying because they cannot get care from doctors, hopefully that becomes more clear. It's not that you're signing up and saying, yes, I want women to abort their children. You're not saying that. But let's say a woman has a miscarriage. This has happened repeatedly already since the overturning of Roe versus Wade. She has a miscarriage. Not all of the tissue, not all of the, things that make up a fetus come out during that miscarriage. And now she cannot get the help she needs to get the rest of that tissue expelled because doctors are afraid they'll go to jail. That's a death sentence for women. Where we are right now in certain states, and this will surely spread should the other side win, pregnant women are hot potatoes. If a pregnant woman is in distress, we're not talking about abortion right now. We're talking about any woman who's pregnant. 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. If she goes into distress, her water breaks early, or maybe, there's a touch and go situation where the baby needs to be rescued, or the pregnancy's not viable, the baby's dead inside the mama, and the mama will die if she doesn't get help. Doctors won't touch her because they don't want to go to jail. So what you're doing with these laws, you're endangering the lives of all pregnant people, all pregnant women, all persons who have the ability to carry a child, to make a life. You're endangering the lives of all of those women and all of those babies, because you've now made it where it is scary for doctors to give help. And they're testing and testing and testing, or making them go from hospital to hospital, and women are literally dying. Okay? Well, that's a scare tactic, Dominique. No, women are dying. I can give you names. And so what does that mean on the focus on what I want side? On the focus on what I want side, it means we take the government out of our medical processes. It means we allow women, we trust women to make the right choices with their own bodies and lives. It's not a commentary on whether you believe in abortion. It's not a commentary about how that conversation should go between a man and a woman. It's about saving the lives of pregnant women, women who have had miscarriages, and yes, women who have chosen abortion and have had a complication of one kind or another. In some cases, like the case of a woman who recently died in Texas, she already had 2 children. The doctor had told her if she got pregnant again, she would die. She would die bringing that child to term. And her husband decided together that they had no choice but to go and get an abortion. They went to another state. She got the pills. She took the abortion pill. And everything didn't come out. By the time she realized that, she was back in her home state of Texas, where she was refused care, and she died, leaving 2 babies, 2 children, 2 young black kids with no mama, because you want to control a woman's body. So that's got to be a huge issue. And to this so-called controversy about whether or not we tell people who we vote for, you can call it lying. I'm proud to say who I voted for, and I'll argue with you no matter who you are. But the point here is that there's a reason that ballots are secret. We don't have to tell our employers. We don't have to tell our boyfriends, girlfriends, brothers or sisters. We can vote however we want. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to be me and get on the radio and say, vote for George Gascon. Vote for Michelle Chambers to replace Steve Bradford. Look, that's his choice. She's a clear progressive. I'm not speaking on behalf of the radio station or any organization, blah, 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 blah. I'm not speaking on that. I'm speaking on my own head, what I think. Follow it, don't follow it. Y'all have no problem disagreeing with me. Each of us has our own head, so we have the ability to make our own decisions. But what I'm saying is, when I focus on what I want, not what I don't want, accountability for police is one of the things I want. That is something that Vice President Kamala Harris has committed to. It will be up to us to hold her feet to the fire to make sure that she delivers on everything from reparations to police accountability. Electing a Democratic Congress would sure help. A Senate would sure help. But it is clear that her opponent has already said he wants 1 day of really rough policing, and that he has said that he wants total immunity for police. That's not what I want. So what I don't want. So I'm giving you reasons, proactive reasons to vote for Vice President Harris as the 47th president. News, traffic, and sports and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden will skip the COP29 climate summit in Azerbaijan next month for the 2nd year in a row. Instead, top administration officials, including the Secretary of Energy and the White House climate advisor, will attend. A growing number of wealthy Americans are planning to leave the U.S. regardless of who wins the election. That's the bottom line of a survey by Art and Capital, which advises the wealthy on immigration programs. It found 53% of American millionaires say they are more likely to leave after the election. A video allegedly showing voter fraud in Georgia was actually Russian misinformation. It falsely depicted Haitians claiming they illegally voted for Vice President Harris. U.S. intelligence agencies confirmed that Russian actors created the video. And Japanese film studio Toho International is bringing another Godzilla film to theaters. The writer-director of the 2023 hit Godzilla Minus One will return to helm the next entry in the franchise. Get VIN News on demand 24/7 at VINnews.com.
Progressive Insurance offers a great price and round-the-clock protection when bundling home and auto. It's one of those rare times where you could save money and get something great. Bundle today at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a good day Sunday for both of LA's NFL teams. The Rams and Chargers were winners on the road. The Rams beat Seattle 26-20 in overtime. Third straight win for the Rams. Wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson caught a 39-yard touchdown pass in overtime to win it. Rams safety Cameron Kitchens had 2 red zone interceptions. He returned one of them for a 103-yard touchdown. The Rams are 4-4 after a 3-game losing streak. The Chargers are 5-3 after a 27-10 win at Cleveland. The Chargers defense had 3 interceptions and 6 sacks, 2 touchdowns for running back J.K. Dobbins. The Lakers are at Detroit tonight. Anthony Davis leads the NBA in scoring with 31.8 points per game. The Clippers are home tonight against San Antonio. The Clippers will try for the 5th time to get their first home win in their new arena, the Intuit Dome. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know that streaming music, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and more is available for free from the Los Angeles Public Library? With your library card, you can access the latest music and movies, audiobooks and ebooks, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, and more. If you don't have a library card and live in the city of Los Angeles, you can get a digital card online for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
Angelinos, it is critical to vote down ballot this November, especially for our local judges. Judges make major decisions, not just in our criminal courts, but also in our family, juvenile, small claims, and housing courts across LA County. This November, we must elect community lawyers who will bring their informed legal experiences to the LA Superior Court. The defenders of justice are Erica Wiley for seat number 48 and George Turner for seat number 39. If you live in LA County, they will be on your ballot. Ad paid for by the Justice PAC by La Defensa, a project of Tide's advocacy for Turner and Wiley for Judge 2024. Top funders include Patty Quillen and Smart Justice California Action Fund.
KBLA Talk 1580 is here for you as you make your voting plan. And we've got a few things you may want to know. In the state of California, you can register to vote all the way up until the last day to vote, which is November 5th. In LA County, you may vote at any voting center or polling place of your choosing. Early voting has already started, both in person and by mail. If you need information about your registration or any election question, call the Registrar of Voters at 800-815-2666. That's 800-815-2666, or visit lavote.gov. Once you fill out your mail-in ballot, you may drop it in any county election mailbox found outside places like libraries, or you could drop it off with a poll worker at any vote center. If you suspect election foul play, voter suppression or intimidation, or other irregularities, or if you need to know more about your rights, call the Election Protection Hotline at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. That's 866-687-8683. From any state. And if you need more information on specific candidates or propositions, check out our interviews and analysis on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, November 5th is the last day to vote, and the sooner we do it, the better. Helping you vote like your life depended on it, because it does. Your election information station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Politics has become so messy lately. It's hard to find a reason to be hopeful. Hi, my name is Shakira. I'd like to tell you why Adam Schiff gives me hope. My parents raised me to take my right to vote seriously, so I try to stay on top of what's going on. I saw Adam Schiff lead the impeachment and insurrection hearings. He seemed like someone I could believe in. Then I actually met him at the MLK parade in South Central LA this year. Adam listened. He cared. I got to see who he is. He understands the struggle we have with the cost of living, all the parents working extra shifts and taking second jobs to get by. He gets a threat to our democracy and our freedoms. Adam Schiff knows how tough things really are for a lot of us, and I believe he's going to do something about it. It gives me hope, but hope isn't enough. We need to vote for Adam Schiff for Senate.
I'm Adam Schiff, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Schiff for Senate.
Chevy Red Tag Radio 30, code GWMR 0394000.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
And it is election eve. I have put the call out. If you're running for anything from dog catcher to president, I got you. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Just call in and we'll give you your 3 minutes of fame. And look who is on my phone. She is running for the Assembly, District 57, Sade Elhawary. Good morning. Oh, Sade Elhawary. I guess the phone was breaking up a little bit. Hopefully we have you now. Nope. Okay. Maybe. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. Sounds like technical difficulties. But I love that she called in. She's running for the 57th. If I lived in the 57th, I would vote for her. We've talked in depth twice, and you could certainly hear the podcasts on our YouTube. All of our election podcasts are there. Maybe she will call back. I do not live in the 57th. I live in the 55th. And I will be voting for Assemblymember Isaac Bryan, who is a progressive. And despite, the reparations fail, I do feel confident that he will do everything in his power to bring those bills back. And if not, well, everybody's watching. So I think the accountability piece is going to be real strong for the California Legislative Black Caucus next cycle. Sade Elhawary, I think we have her on the phone. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now. Perfect. I know you've been going hard in the paint. 48 hours, less than 48 hours to go. What do you need people to know?
It is so important. First of all, that folks know their voice matters, and their voice matters all the way up and down the ballot. We have some really important propositions on the ballot, and, when it comes to state assembly, folks don't always know what that means and why you're voting for someone to represent us in Sacramento. What does that person do? And so for me, it's huge that people understand that local elections, local officials who represent us are so important. I know you mentioned that, and make sure you really double down on that all the time. But at the state level, if we're going to be making laws that impact us and, deciding on budgets based on our state taxes, we want to make sure we have representatives who are truly fighting for equity, fighting for justice, and in this case, ensuring that we have representation that truly keeps in mind our Black community, our Latino community, and really brings us together in a way that I think is incredibly important. In this particular race, we have probably the tightest race in the entire state of California in terms of the legislature. And it, at this point, means that we have to do everything we can to get those ballots in. So if you haven't had a chance to turn in your ballot or to vote in person, make sure you do that. You can do it today. You can do it tomorrow. Polls close at 8 o'clock. But also make sure you tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors. If someone doesn't have access to a car or isn't able to, get time off of work, help them by, turning their ballot in for them. That kind of thing really helps and makes such a difference. And for us in this race, we know the importance of, what it means to have a community organizer in office, a true progressive in office, someone who's going to fight for us, because that's what I've done my entire career. At Fremont High School, I helped build a wellness center. At Manual Arts High School, when there were students who didn't even have schedules on the first week of school, we did everything we could to ensure that those young people had not only the classes they needed, but the right college prep classes, right, to go to a four-year university if they wanted. I'm a foster mom to a young woman who went to Washington Prep, who I met when she was 15 and was struggling in school, had D's and F's, didn't go to class because of so much that was going on in her home life. And I became her mentor. I supported her with making sure she turned her grades around. And when she was unfortunately removed from her home, I stepped up to make sure that she had someone who was going to care about making sure she not only had the support she needed overall, especially in terms of mental health, but who was able to go to San Francisco State University, who was able to then now, as she continues on in her journey, have her first job. That was the same as my first job at the Freedom Schools program through the Children's Defense Fund, where she worked under Pastor Eddie Anderson with young second, third, fourth graders to help them learn how to read and get excited about reading in our community here in South Central. So all of that, I think, makes such a huge difference in terms of who we want to send to Sacramento and why it matters that we have our voices heard by really voting in a way that truly showcases that we're going to have someone who fights for affordable housing, who fights to ensure we have better mental health supports and substance abuse prevention and treatment, as well as making sure we invest in our future generations. For young people like Michaela, my daughter, and young people who overall deserve to have a better future, deserve to have better focus on everything from criminal legal reform to recognizing how we need more after-school programs, better education systems, lower cost tuition, and things along those lines. And so definitely really appreciate the opportunity to be on with you all today and to earn your vote in this upcoming election. I can't believe it's tomorrow, but we definitely are really excited to make it happen.
Sade Elhawary, your website.
Yes, SadeForAssembly.com. That's SadeForAssembly.com. And for folks who want to know how to spell my name, it's Sade like the singer, Sade, and my last name is Elhawary. That's Elhawary.
Well, good luck to you. You know, if I was in the 57th, I'd vote for you. I'm in the 55th, but I certainly hope that everyone that's in that district makes the right decision and votes for you on tomorrow or today.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. And it's always so good to be on with you, Dominique. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you. Same to you. We're being joined by somebody in studio who's going to give us kind of her take on the election. This is not an official campaign visit because, well, she is running for Rialto City Council, and we haven't done a deep dive in the city of Rialto. But she's also a local business owner, a clinician, a community leader, and she's really interested in economic development, public safety, and infrastructure improvements. These seem to be recurring issues everywhere, but apparently they are big priorities for the residents of Rialto. Vickie Davis, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Miss Dominique?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in. You can just call me Dominique.
Okay.
So how are you feeling about this election?
I am feeling very excited, and I was really excited also to hear your previous guest talking about mental health support, prevention and early intervention, and representation, because those are key issues every time the election comes around. And this time we are on a national scale facing something very, very serious, but also on our local level, we need to really make sure that we're encouraging our communities of color, our women, our Black and brown communities to participate in the local elections, because this is where you make a difference, and this is where you can really shape the place that you live.
Yeah. I mean, they say all politics are local, but they repercussions go from local to national and right back down. Mm-hmm. As a mental health a professional, what do you mean when you say that we have important things on the ballot regarding mental health?
Yeah, so it's very important that we be paying attention to being able to invest more in prevention and early intervention as far as our mental health programs. Because when we're talking about safety for our community, and when we're talking about affordable housing and things like that, they all really boil down to having to incorporate a component of mental health, because we need to be considering the multi-layers of our community so that we can be providing the resources that is required to sustain those initiatives. So when we're thinking about our unhoused population, right, we know that a large portion of our unhoused are suffering from a mental illness or are suffering from a co-occurring substance use disorder. And so if we're building affordable housing without considering the social and emotional situations of our participants, then we're not really putting them in a position for success. It's not just about lowering the rates or keeping the rates affordable or, building infrastructure that people can be directed toward, but it's about creating programming around that infrastructure that allows the individuals to sustain that into the future for themselves.
Now, Rialto are those at large seats, or is it?
Yes, Rialto is at large.
We just had a conversation about this last week, and how one of the ways that Black people and Latinos are being kept out of office are by these at-large seats, where you can have 4 people from the same block that live in the same house could all be on the city council.
Yeah. So, but Rialto is a very small city. Rialto is only 4 by 8 miles.
It's we call that a neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is true that an at-large system typically benefits an incumbent, or typically benefits, it can be, it can be hard for Black or brown to infiltrate there. But in a small place like Rialto, at large really means that you have to have a connection with your entire community.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I don't know where you are, but it seems to me that Prop 36 is a perfect example on a statewide level of something that may appear that people may think it's meant to keep you safe, but it's actually taking away some of the resources that we have redirected to programs like mental health and putting them back into the carceral system.
Right. So we have to make sure that we're reading the fine print of, where that money is going to go and who's going to benefit. And we have to weigh that against, the values that we have for our community. And if we're really invested in wanting to see, mental health systems grow that, don't reduce people down to a number, but actually have the funding to individualize treatment, then we want to be, making sure we weigh our decision carefully on things like that.
And so many things are on the ballot, like, I don't have the Rialto ballot, but I know in LA we're looking at Measure A, right, which is about sustaining funding for the unhoused. Now, to me, people are tired of spending money. People are on this lock 'em up, law and order. I don't want to spend no money. But I feel like if we allow funding sources to run out and don't replace them, what we see with the unhoused will be a lot worse than it is right now.
Yeah, and one of the things though that I'm really trying to get our community in Rialto to think about is beyond affordable housing, what pathways to home ownership are we building for individuals? Because we're a very small area, and so we do have affordable housing communities, but I think that one of the words that people leave off when they talk about affordable housing is projects. And so we don't want to just continue to build housing projects, but we want to impact our community in a way that puts them on a pathway to home ownership, so that we can start to break down some of the barriers that have prevented them from participating in the most basic American right of home ownership and being able to build generational wealth for their families. So one way that that has been being championed a little bit in Los Angeles County and in surrounding areas is through community land grants, which allow the city to invest in vacant lands and build whatever type of properties they see fit. Now they can build more apartment, but they can also build single dwelling family units, and then allow residents through programming to qualify for housing at lower than market value rate. And that way we can be putting people on a pathway to owning their own homes and being able to, really change the scape of our community.
Talking with Vickie Davis. She's helping with me with some election analysis on this election eve. She's straight out of Rialto, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
This is Assemblymember Tina McKenna reminding you to vote for my girl, Sade Elhawary, for State Assembly. Sade is a part of our community, and she's the partner I need in Sacramento to help fight for economic justice, affordable housing, health care, and so much more. Sade is just like us. She comes out of our community, and she's spent years working in our community, bringing people together. That's why she's endorsed by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, teachers, firefighters, and Planned Parenthood advocates. This is Tina McKenna, and I need you to make a plan to vote and to vote by Tuesday, November the 5th, for Sade Elhawary for State Assembly.
Ad paid for by Opportunity PAC, a coalition of teachers, nurses, faculty members, school employees, and public and private labor, healthcare, and environmental organizations. Ad committee's top funders, California Teachers Association, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Chevy Red Tag Radio 30, code GWMR 0394000.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Fam, some of y'all need to hear this. If you owe the IRS $8,000 or more, if you haven't filed your taxes, or if you are going through an audit and you're fighting the IRS, you need someone on your side, an ally. Allies Tax Relief has a large team of professionals that negotiates with the IRS on behalf of taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief will protect your wages from being garnished, your bank account from being levied, and your assets from being seized by the IRS. Allies Tax Relief has fought for thousands of Americans in your situation. There's no reason to be embarrassed. Don't let fear stop you from calling and resolving your issue. Call 800-854-2815 today for a free consultation. Allies teams of tax attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents have negotiated millions in IRS tax debt, and they're ready to fight for you. Call today for the freedom you've been waiting for. Call 800-854-2815 or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Vickie Davis is here with me. She's from Rialto and has been a community leader there. She's currently running for office in case you happen to be in the city of Rialto. But you were talking about home ownership, and of course, most people can't just jump from being unhoused on the street, in need of supportive services, to owning a home. But there's a lot in between, right? There's how do you go from being a renter to owning a home, and all of the obstacles and issues that come up in affordability, keeping people in their homes so they don't become houseless. What do you think about, in the context of all these conversations and your hyper-focus on the business side and housing, what do you think of Vice President Kamala Harris's plan to provide $25,000 down payment assistance?
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a very good initiative to sort of jumpstart opportunity for many young Americans who are in a position, who are in professional jobs, who are raising children, who are running small businesses, and who in any other day and time may have been able to afford a home, but in this current market are not able to. So I think it's a really exciting opportunity to really jumpstart that process for our young American families today.
Yeah. And I mean, you are a mom. That seems like a daunting thing. I thought about it when my kid was still home of running for public office, but that's a lot, right? To be a mom and to be a lawmaker.
You know what? I think my girls are used to it. I have two girls, 16 and 12 now. She just turned 12 on the 27th, and they have seen me starting so many community initiatives in Rialto, and really that was my motivation for getting started in community service work and in public service, because I wanted my kids to have the experience that I had when I got to watch my mom organizing our block, organizing our neighbors to do something that cultivated a family-oriented environment and that fed into us and taught us the value of knowing your neighbor, caring about one another, being able to ask each other questions. And so I think they're used to it, and they're typically either one of them or the other by my side.
They're your shadow campaign managers.
Absolutely.
What about that? I mean, do you think women are you getting a sense that women are extraordinarily motivated to vote? BIPOC people, Black people, sometimes all of us have obstacles, reasons, and responsibilities that can keep us away.
Yeah, I think, when we're looking at like social media and the narratives and things that are being portrayed there, it's easy to kind of get in a mindset that like, oh, everyone must be, on the voting train now. Everyone must have put down all of those barriers that were stopping them from voting before. And now everybody's excited. It's the era of the woman. It's this, it's that. But I think on a one-on-one basis, as I've been canvassing, knocking on doors and talking to people in my neighborhood, there still is, a conversation amongst people of color and amongst low-income communities that our vote doesn't matter, or why I don't do that because it doesn't make a difference, or, it's not going to change anything. And I think the conversation there needs to be that if you do truly believe that there is some underhanded systemic situation going on to disenfranchise Black people or people of color from being able to influence the neighborhoods that we live in, or the scape of the national scale of the way we experience policies and things, then your champion should be that you would not be the ultimate win for a system like that is if you choose not to participate.
Interesting. Tell us how to find you.
You can find me by visiting my website at electvickydavis.com. That's elect, VICKIE, Davis, DAVIS.com.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and spending this election eve with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Good luck to you. Look, we are all the way live on election night. I'm going to be here all day. I think I'm just going to set up a bed in the conference room. We've got expert analysis, notable guest insights, and your live phone calls. Ariva Martin and Dr. Nicordelai Corte will be on the East Coast broadcasting live from Kamala Harris's election night headquarters at Howard University. Me and Tavis Smiley will be holding it down in the studio on the left coast like we always do. Our coverage starts at 4 p.m. Well, it starts at 6 on my show. But anyway, it starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time and goes until we're done. We're going to have some great experts, including our own lineup, John Wood Jr., Adrian Shropshire, and more. And so, see you tomorrow. We've got a lot to talk about. Tavis Smiley's up next. He is going hard in the paint, of course, today. He is ready for you on election eve. In the meantime, tap in with me on social media. My voting recommendations are there at DiPrima Radio on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us at KBLA 1580, wherever it is that you are on social media. Jesse Jackson said, at the end of the day, we must go forward with hope, not backward by fear and division. Until tomorrow, one love.
1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden will skip the COP29 climate summit in Azerbaijan next month for the second year in a row. Instead, top administration officials, including the Secretary of Energy and the White House climate advisor, will attend. A growing number of wealthy Americans are planning to leave the U.S. regardless of who wins the election. That's the bottom line of a survey by Art and Capital, which advises it falsely depicted Haitians claiming they illegally voted for Vice President Harris. U.S. intelligence agencies confirmed